According to the dictionary, to be talented means having natural aptitude or skill for something. Gifted children are born with natural abilities well above the average for their age. If a child is gifted, parents might notice these natural abilities in the way of the kids learning and developing. Children can be gifted in more ways than one and in many areas and levels of ability too. Or it may be that children may have more advanced abilities than others. These gifts become talents when they are developed and nurtured. By this, I mean to say that such children become talented when they use their natural gifts to learn, concentrate, and practice. Things like family values, education, personality and motivation, health and chance opportunities influence whether a gifted child's natural ability becomes a talent. Many of us have heard about F1 races and so on. These motorsports competitions may not be that popular in our part of the world, but then I can tell you that this has not stopped anyone from getting their interests centered around this sport. Well, Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher and Ayrton Senna, just to name a few, are motorsports champions. But what's interesting about them is the fact that they had all started their career as kart racers. What is a kart race? Kart racing or karting is a variant of motorsport road racing with open-wheel, four-wheeled vehicles known as go-karts or shifter karts. They are usually raced on scaled-down circuits, although some professional kart races are also held on full-size motorsport circuits. Karting is commonly perceived as the stepping stone to the higher ranks of motorsports like F2, F1 and so on. Media Plus brings to you the story of a young champion who had recently and for the first time competed in the MECO-FMSCI National Karting Championship ROTAX Max 2020 and secured a podium for himself amongst the winners. This boy has been living his dreams since he was little. With the talent that he has been bestowed with, he plans on using it the right way, but most importantly, he dreams of becoming one of the top racers in the world. Let's go meet him.
So I started at the age of 3. I was actually going to be a rally driver, not an F1 like motorsport like racing driver. But slowly my interest started shifting towards racing, and I felt like I was much better on tarmac, like in the track. So slowly my dad started teaching me what an apex was, how to take a corner, what a racing line was. So wherever we'd go, whether it be Bangkok, Malaysia, everywhere, there was a good go-kart track. So we would go there and we would race. And every time I used to go there, I'd impress the people who were at the track.
So, but you're not into cars, you're into a different level altogether.
Yeah. Firstly, in Northeast and in around North India, this karting and racing is not really popular. So if you want to, like achieve this sport and you want to go up in the sport, you would have to go to Bangalore, somewhere in South India. Bangalore mainly. Because in Bangalore you have all these sports, like sport teams like M Sport and the team that I'm driving for. So they give you all the karts and they train you up, and this is how we moved forward in my career. In racing, it's all one guy. So it's one guy driving, but there's a lot of people behind like talking to you and managing the kart and everything. But as per performance wise, it's on a clean track and you have to be much smoother. Like everything is much more focused and you're playing with milliseconds. In rallying, you can have all sorts of ways to take the corner. You can drift, you can do, it's very different. So but both motorsports, like both categories have like...
They're not similar to each other.
Yeah, they're really not similar to each other.
And like we know Formula 1, that's the only thing that we know. We see TV. But what are the other things that you're doing?
So right now you have around 5 categories. The first one being karting, which I'm doing. So all the drivers, all the professional drivers, no matter where you're going, whether F1, whether you're doing rallying, it's quite like you should start from karting because that's where all your foundations are built. And then after you qualify in karting and you reach the age around 15, 16, you move on to Formula 4. So Formula 4 is just the start to you getting into open-seater, single-seater cars. So it's powered by like 1.6 liter engines. They're quite quick. They go around almost 200 kilometers an hour. So after you do that, you can pay for a seat in F3 and you can drive in F3. F3 is even more powerful and it's more aerodynamic and it's more professional. After that, F2 onwards is where the teams start picking you. So you have teams like Prema, who are one of the top in F2. So they will start picking you up and they'll test with you, and if you're good enough, you'll get a seat in F2. And F2 is where you need to win a world championship in F2 to reach to F1. And it's not very easy because in motorsport, especially if you're reaching F1, you have like a time span. So teams are looking for drivers from 19 to 20. That's all. If you pass that, if you're not in F1 by that age, it's going to be difficult. So people who are around 18 now and looking into going to the motorsport to being an F1 driver, it's going to be very tough. So instead of going for F1, it's better to go for something like DTM, which is like touring cars.
There is no success without challenges. As a young racer, Jaden Parrott had faced many obstacles along the way as far as training and circuits are concerned.
So the circuits that I'm driving on is MECO. It's MECO Kartapoya in Bangalore, and that's where they hold the race. But because of COVID, it's only being there. But normally there's a track in Coimbatore and Pune as well. So the one that we're driving on, MECO right now, is around 1.2 kilometers, the length of the track.
Can you just give some light on the expense or the kind of cost that would involve if you have to be professional in this sport?
Skill-wise, you never know. I say you just one day just fly down to Bangalore and just try yourself out. You never know where you could be. But the thing is, don't expect. Just go for it, and you'll never be Michael Schumacher the first time. But as far as expenses and being professional in it, India is kind of quite compared to internationally, it's quite expensive. So it's quite a lot. You can say teams abroad are spending around a few crores just in karting. So here a chassis might cost you a few double-digit lakhs, but and we just have one. So if we go into a crash and the chassis bends, even 1-2 mm makes a lot of difference. So just 1-2 mm we can bend them back, but in UK and all they have 3 separate chassis. So instead of just that 1 mm, they just throw that cart away and they get another cart in. So that's how things are evolving. So motorsport is up there with one of the most expensive sports in the world. So also that's where the problem is, because there are a lot of talents out there, but then those talents are not being shown because of the price of the sport. So it has a very big price tag.
Probably a car that you use for racing, professional one, how much that car cost? Probably in Indian market.
There are no Indian cars manufacturers.
No, but in India, if you have to buy an Indian car,
you can say around 16 lakhs. Yeah.
Professional one.
Yeah, professional one. But that's only if you you really want a car. But of course, getting your own car has more benefits. It'll be a little quicker, because the chassis is fresh and it's new. But you don't really have to pay so much, because you can if you're in a team like MECO and you go and you drive with them, you can ask them for a chassis and then they'll give it to you to race with. But yeah, getting your own chassis is much better. Right now in karting, it's more of a do or die, because you can just the teams will just take you in, but it's up to you for you to perform. Karting is where you show your skill, where you start showing the teams that okay, I can I might be a future F1 driver. So that's the whole thing about teams and karting drivers.
What are the challenges you faced, and then how to actually promote yourself to come to this level?
At first it was very scary because I thought like, how will I be able to come up with them and how will I be able to match their skill so quickly. And I was also scared of how fast the kart would be. But we had a track walk the day before and and the moment I sat in the kart, I felt like it was doable, and all the fear and all the second thoughts just vanished, and I sat in it and just enjoyed it that second. So, and we just had 1 week of practice, and from there on I was top 3. So it felt really good.
Especially the youths of today, they love speed, and so for you, when you started off initially as a small boy, speed wasn't a problem for you. When you didn't have that fear.
No, because I always love speed. I actually never liked anything slow. So anything that has an engine and 4 wheels, even 2 wheels that matter, I don't drive it slow because I just feel like there's no point of driving anything slow. So I've never really felt scared about going fast. That's one thing.
How's your routine? Can you tell us how do you start your day?
We wake up at around 7 o'clock, and by 7:30 we're at the track, and from 7:30 onwards we do practice till around 7:30 in the evening. So around say 9-10 hours of driving.
It's like a kind of a whole day affair.
Yeah, whole day.
You mean you must be having exercise, physical exercise?
Yes. So I've been trained by Nishan Bodaloy. He trains all the Indian cricketers like Sachin Tendulkar and all. So he's trained them before. So he's very close to my dad. So he's training me physically.
You don't have speed of second can cause a lot of damage. So what kind of mental exercise do you do? Exercises like do you do any kind of meditation or anything like that?
Yeah, in the morning I like to close my eyes and just keep quiet for a minute, just to bring myself down and like keep focus. That's what I do.
So you do while before your practice or before
Yeah, I do it
racing?
around 5 times a day because we really need it, because of tensions and the whole pressure because you're playing with milliseconds. Between the first guy and the last guy, it might just be 2 milliseconds. So where you can find that 2 milliseconds is like a very big thing. So you need to focus on your lap. So even a small distraction, even like if you're scared, just that, even if you're like little scared, it can really push you away from that 2 milliseconds.
Is there any kind of encouragement from this place that you've got so far, besides from your dad?
Well, yes, because we've seen like it's pretty, out of the lot like Northeastern that I've been with, we all like Northeast people, we all have this sort of special talent that whatever we do, we're very good at it, and we have this natural talent like in sports and everything. So when we go out, we actually praised instead of like looked by. So it was a good way, like comforting for me.
But then this must be a challenge for you, like like there's no proper venue where you can practice when you're here at home.
Yes, so we always have to go from Guwahati to Bangalore every month to go and practice because there's no track over here. So there, people in Bangalore actually have a very big privilege because they can just go to the track whenever they want. But me, that's where I'm lacking out. So that's a very big problem.
Well, all of us have a mentor in someone or the other. Let's find out from this young racer who his mentor is.
Probably your experience with your dad, how did it inspire you? How did it inspire you?
It was basically his achievements, all his trophies in the office. And when actually we never really were properly serious, we were just having fun, laughing, just enjoying both father and son. So it's the same way now, like only just it's because it's so tight and it's just like a one shot that you have. So he's a little more harsh on me now, but it's okay. That's the way we need to be.
Competition.
My first, right now, it was just 4 months back. I never really professionally raced before. It was just me practicing and enjoying the sport, thinking I have a chance. And when I got to the track, I felt like I wasn't close to any competition. But yeah, when the race day came up, I was top 3 and I got a podium. So I was the first Indian in the Indian motorsport history to have a podium on the debut race.
And you must be the first one from Northeast?
Yes. So, and here you get the podium after 4 races. So each round. So one round consists of 4 races. So it's not like F1 where you get it every race. So you have to collect points in 4 races, and according to the amount of points that you've collected, you get the trophy.
Where do you see yourself for the next future, like maybe in the next 5 years from now?
Next 5 years, I feel hopefully I should be in F1 because that's around me being around 18, or you can say F2. So F2 is where I'd like to be. It'd be safe to be in F2. But right now, as if like not, if you're saying like another 1 or 2 years, I actually got a seat in Italy. So a team has given me a seat. They're going to sponsor me. The name of the team is Kart. So they're one of the top teams in Italy. So they've given me a seat to participate in Italy for this coming 2021.
So how difficult was it for you to actually be a part of this team?
At first, they'll be with you and they'll train you up, and you'll need to get an FI license, which is with the Formula cars and all. So you'll have to go through a certain skill set, and they'll have to test you, like your skill. Upon that, you'll get the license, and if the team feels that you're worthy enough and you have that interest to drive for that team, they'll pick you up. But it's not that hard because you can talk with the team. They don't really necessarily have to pick you up. So you can go and everyone's open, and being Indian and the team being Indian, everyone's very supportive of each other. So there's no biased thing between the best driver and the worst driver, because everyone wants to reach F1.
When we had a word with Jaden's mother, she expressed her fear of races, but despite the feeling, she has always been a great support to her son's interest. And in fact, she would always encourage her boy to keep honing his skills and to live up to his dreams.
Okay. Jaden, right from the age of 2, he's showed a lot of interest, but we thought it's just like any boy's interest, He loved a lot of cars. Surprisingly, from the age of 2, he could identify, which make, which model. So that is something we thought is a little different. Then as he grows up, he's always sitting in the car half the time in the house, and he start moving up and down in the compound, trying to do his little things. So that way, gradually, we had to buy him some, like ATVs and stuff. Keep on encouraging him this way. So when we travel, we keep taking him to all these karting plays and anything that is to do with racing. And then eventually this is how he started. And then of course in the house and his friends and family circle, we all know Jaden has something to do. There's something that Jaden wants to do with race and speed. It's not only about interest in cars. He's shown us a lot of things that he can do in the house. That's how it is. And then finally in this lockdown, he finally told his dad that he need to start, that dad is not taking much interest in him, that he needs to start somewhere, it's too late. So we thought we'll start. Somehow he's in school also, so we were just thinking, taking our own sweet time to start. But somehow during this pandemic, this competition started in Bangalore. So we decided to take him there, and his dad started calling people and asking people about the championship and all that. Finally, we decided to go. So that's how it started. And 1 week we put him under intense training, which is by a Formula 1 driver. And then he took part in this championship, which is X3 or X30 championship. Then somehow he managed to get a podium in the first race itself, which is quite shocking for us. We were not expecting it to happen so soon, that we thought that it'll take some time. If he could only be in the top 10, top 15, we are quite happy. But Jaden, he managed a podium right away, which is quite shocking for everybody. So when I first went for his first race, I was there. I never looked. I just closed my ears and my eyes. I never want to watch him speed because I don't know. All I'm thinking is the fear of him having an accident or toppling over his car or getting hurt. So I was really, really scared. I'm just there just because, to be there for him. But I could never watch the race. It's too fast. Then one of the fathers, one of the participants, he encouraged me. He said, you must watch. You have to say something. You have to watch. Then only you'll enjoy the sports. And I started. Then I'm enjoying it. But at the same time, it's very hard to be there and watch. It's too fast. And the sound and this, it's really nerve-wracking. So I think, I guess after that, I never went for any of his races again. But I can handle. It's really hard for me to watch as a mother. I guess I'll leave it to his dad in future. It's really hard. I mean, all I could think is not about winning, but his safety. When I'm there at the podium, I find it's really hard to watch as a mother to watch a child going about at that kind of speed. Yeah.
Well, viewers, from the story of this young boy, we've come to learn that despite challenges and difficulties, there is nothing that would stop us from reaching our goal. If we are determined to reach the top, we should also be determined enough to work hard towards reaching the pinnacle of success.